Check. 1, 2, 3.
The D.
Brief.
Brief. This is the D Brief.
Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's arts
and entertainment scene.
This is the D
Brief.
Hello and welcome to the Debrief, your podcast for Detroit concerts, comedy, plays, food, drink, and more. It is Wednesday, April 16th, and I am Seth Ressler. My co-host, Becky Scarcello, out today.
Aw.
Out sick.
Poor Becky.
I had this cold last week. It is terrible. I was flat on my ass for like 4 days.
Oh, I'm not envious of that.
I caught it when I was coming back from Vegas. The plane ride home was miserable.
I thought they said what happens there stays there. And then you bring it back.
No, it doesn't. I contracted what happens there. And I brought it back. And whoever I was sitting next to on the plane hates me now. And I had a middle seat on two different flights.
Oh, no.
So I infected at least 4 people.
You are patient zero.
Fortunately, you can hear her there. We have stand-up comedian Alana Gonzalez filling in. Thank you so much for stepping up.
Thank you so much for having me.
And
yes.
you are the Detroit native as
yes,
well.
I'm filling the role as the native.
Yes.
Born and raised in Ypsilanti, and then lived in kind of the Ferndale, Berkeley, Royal Oak area, and now currently residing in Dearborn Heights. So I'm trying to check off all the boxes.
Oh, you do it well.
Yeah.
So, this is good because I don't know anything about this place. Look, here's what's going on today's show. First of all, we're going to talk to Delisi, who hosts Essential Music on 101.9 WDET.
Oh, she is a Detroit staple. She's great.
She's been there for 10 years. She's celebrating 10 years this year.
That's so amazing.
That's an amazing run in radio.
It really, really is.
You know this. You've worked in radio,
Yes.
just like me, so you know what an amazing run that is. Also, if you need some Easter brunch recommendations, we've got those for you. Plus, on Friday, we have Ebrod Kesemi. He is the morning anchor on WDIV Channel 4, and he has a new album out. It's like if you're into 90s R&B, like that's what it sounds like.
I am so into 90s R&B.
It's all about that. It's called Music. You can find it on Spotify or
it's
Apple
news
Music.
and music. Oh,
Yep.
I like that.
So that's happening on Friday. You can check that out. All right, Alana, you ready to meet today's guest co-host?
So ready. Let's do it.
Welcome to the D
Brief. Detroit's
arts and entertainment scene.
I say guest co-host like, you didn't meet her yesterday. Like we weren't hanging out for hours.
We talked about murder podcasts.
Welcome back to the podcast. She is the woman behind the Bite Tonight food blog. You can find it at The Bite, then the number 2, night.com. Jewell, Dziendizel, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Oh, we're so excited to have you. You have a blog here that's about both cooking and dining,
Yes.
really.
Yes. So the Bite Tonight features the best food in Detroit. I do restaurant reviews, but I also will post from time to time just my own recipes because I do love to cook. But I focus on kind of just unique and different stuff. I try to push the envelope. I'm a pretty adventurous eater, and I do try to eat healthy. I stopped eating meat about a year ago, so you'll see a lot of vegetable stuff. You'll see I still eat fish and seafood, so you'll see that as well. And then from time to time, you'll see some vegan stuff on there also.
Now, by cutting out meat, has that limited, your ability to go out and enjoy all these fun places?
No. So a lot of places, if they're not, vegetarian or vegan restaurants, they still have tons of veggie options.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
That's really, really great.
I need to check with you. It's not that my girlfriend is a vegetarian so much as she's just picky. Like, she won't eat a lot of meat. And she always complains about the places I take her because, they won't necessarily have the right dishes on there. So I might be calling you up and going, look, will you screen this place? Let me know if I can take my girlfriend here.
Yeah, do it.
You're good for any that you would recommend? Any places you've been recently?
I mean, Anti-Hero, I think we talked about them yesterday. As far as vegan goes, Chili Mustard Onion, the new vegan Coney place, just opened up a few months back, and that's in Brush Park. But
you can do a Coney without meat?
Yeah, you can do anything without meat.
Those are bold. That's a bold statement there,
I have a
Jewell.
response, but I will keep it to myself.
But yeah, their Coney dogs, go with an open mind if you're looking for, that traditional Coney dog, go with an open mind. But they have a Big Mac, which is their version of the Big Mac, and I couldn't even tell that it wasn't real meat.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was delicious. And then the chili cheese fries are awesome. Their chili sauce is really good. It's smoky, it's rich, it's meaty. without having meat in it, but it's good. I was surprised.
Chili cheese fries are my weakness.
Oh yeah,
That's good.
yeah, they're good.
No, we were talking yesterday, and you're into the pop-up scene. And you actually have a friend who's doing a pop-up.
Yeah, so my longtime friend Edric Godet and her business partner Damien Gabriel are opening up Gabriel Hall in West Village. So it's a Louisiana-style restaurant, Creole cooking. They're aiming for the fall, but for now they're doing pop-ups. And they've been doing pop-ups for a couple years. And I've been to a handful of them, and they're awesome. There's always a line outside the door. They usually sell out of food within an hour. They usually have live music. It's just a good time. Good food, all around good time. But they are doing a brunch for dinner pop-up at Mudgie's Sunday, April 28th. From 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And since they do sell out, they're asking everyone to pre-purchase food items through Eventbrite link. That's on their Instagram. So you can find that at Gabriel Hall DET. And you can purchase that now through April 26th.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Brunch for dinner is always a good call.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
What are you most looking forward to?
Well, I think there's only one vegetarian option, and it's the Bananas Foster. But
What
I'm not.
a great option to
I
go
know,
with.
yeah, and I'm not super sweet brunch person. I'll always pick savory over sweet, so I'm excited to kind of make myself get something sweet.
Is
Yeah.
Fire vegetarian?
I think so. I think so.
All right, well, cool. Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
Please hang out and enjoy the show.
Awesome.
The D. Brave.
Well, we're going to start with food and drink news, since that's your sweet spot there, Jewell. Starting with this, Eater Detroit just published a list of 30 essential Detroit area patios that you should enjoy this weekend, because the weather's breaking. It's
Yes,
finally.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, since I moved to Michigan, I find April to be the most difficult month.
It's the most schizophrenic.
Right, because it's
It's a teaser.
yes, you
Yeah.
kind of see spring coming, but it's not really, and
And then they take it right back.
right, and there's
Yep.
a day or two of snow, and so the sun is out. It's starting to break. The weather's starting to get nice. You guys have favorite restaurants with patios that you like to go to?
I love Motor City Wine's patio.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is over in Corktown.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 Portofino is always gorgeous. It's right there on the water.
Yeah.
and
So
really
this is where?
expansive.
This is
In Wyandotte.
yeah. So I've been to this for Sweetest Day last year. My girlfriend took us down river, and we took one of those helicopter rides.
Oh,
That's so cool.
nice.
Yeah, and we went to that place. I mean, and the patio, you could pull a boat,
Yeah.
right up to the.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were looking at that, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So, cool. I'm trying to think. Griffin Claw, I really
Yeah.
like. That's one of my favorite breweries.
Batch Brewing Company is a good patio.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Becky got me as a gift for my birthday last year the expansion pack. In fact, I was supposed to go pick up my beers. Hopefully, they'll still have them tomorrow. The special beers that they brew
Yeah.
that you can go pick up once a month.
Oh, nice.
And that patio's going to be nice when it opens. And the food there is great.
Yeah, and they're dog friendly. I think Motor City Wine is also. So if you have dogs,
Do you have a dog?
I don't, but I have friends with dogs.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't have friends with dogs.
Do you have a dog?
No. I'm good.
Do you have
I can go
friends?
anywhere. No. No. I have meat.
That's all you need, right?
All right. Look, if you're looking for something to do for Easter, what do you guys usually do for Easter every year?
I'm at the stage. I have a 2-year-old son. Just turned 2 in February, so we are at the phase where I will buy him way too many Easter outfits, take way too many pictures,
awesome.
and go somewhere to eat some ham, probably.
Nice.
But that's really where we're at.
You
with
can't
Easter.
even egg hunt at this
No,
point.
not
No.
yet.
So.
Not yet.
He doesn't really care, I
No.
think, right? Yeah. He's just happy to be there.
Yep.
What about you, Jewell?
We go to my aunt's for most of the holidays. So we go to my aunt's house, and I've been looking for a reason to make a cheese board. So I'm really excited this Easter. I have a lot of
I've never.
plans.
What do you do when you make a cheese? You just cut up cheese, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do. You can just customize it to whatever you like. But my cheese board is going to have about 4 different cheeses.
Yeah.
Definitely a blue cheese. I'm going to throw in some fruit, like some pears, some grapes. Maybe get fancy with some fig jam.
So, do you have favorite
Yeah.
specialty food shops that you go to for something like this?
Eastern Market is great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
to get
course.
some stuff. And there's the one in Midtown, too,
Okay.
with the cheese and chocolate charcuterie. That
Nice.
just opened up, yeah. So,
Well, if you're looking for something else to do, there is a gospel brunch that's happening with Baobab Fair at UFO Factory. I mean, this is a kind of a weird mashup.
Yeah.
Baobab Fair is a yet-to-open restaurant and market. The owners are from Burundi. They came here in 2014, and so this is going to be all about celebrating African food and culture, and it's also going to be designed to be a, quote, safe space for other immigrants and Detroiters alike. But they don't have a space yet. They're still working on that, which is why they're doing this at UFO Factory. So you'll have all kinds of African foods, plantains, eggs, beans, things like that, meat or vegan menus, so
Perfect.
you can go
Nice.
check it out as well. But DJ Yeti is going to be spinning gospel records. Can you beat match gospel?
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Like,
Can you sample it and
I
the
don't-
wiki?
Yeah.
I don't. I've never seen gospel on the Technics 1200
I
or
guess
whatever
I'll
they
have to go
use. Am I
check it
dating
out.
myself now? Like that was the thing that you used back. When I would go to clubs.
Turntables and a microphone.
So you can go check that out on Easter Sunday. A couple other things that are going on. Sister Pie. We've talked about that a lot on the podcast. This is the bakery that, James Beards recognized
Yes.
this and all kinds of things. They're planning a second location that's going to be on Mac. It's going to be a cafe and a grocery store. Also, something that's reopening, Anchor Bar. Have either of
Okay.
you been? Do you know about Anchor Bar?
I actually do not know about Anchor Bar.
I've been there once, and it was just a dive bar, so it was good.
It's
but-
a dive bar,
yeah.
but it's a legendary dive bar.
Oh, yeah.
Right. This is a dive bar that the entire news industry and other politicians and lawyers and people would gather at. In fact,
Okay.
and again, we mentioned this podcast yesterday. The Detroit History podcast has an episode just about Anchor Bar.
Oh, nice. I
When
will
we-
definitely have to check that out.
When we had Carmen Harlan on the podcast, before
Okay.
we started recording, she was actually talking to us about Anchor Bar and how everybody would go
nice.
hang out at Anchor Bar after the newscast every night. So it's got a new owner.
Is that actually why it's Anchor from News Anchor?
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll have to listen to the
Have to
Detroit
listen to
History
the podcast. Yeah.
I don't know, but it's got a new owner, and it even though it was opened in 1959, and some of the menu items are the same from back then, like the tater tots, and the walls are covered.
If
in
it ain't broke,
sports
don't fix
memorabilia.
it.
Well, they're fixing it. They're fixing it. That's the thing. They're putting new things on the menu, higher prices. There's no more pool table. There's modern light fixtures, and everything's just cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Than it used to be. But I don't know if it's still going to be a dive bar once they reopen it. A couple of...
I think that's based on whether or not they keep the tater tots.
You
Yeah.
think the Tater
Yeah.
Tots determine dive bar
Yeah.
status?
They can't clean it up too much, though, either.
Yeah.
A couple of openings to let you know about on Easter Sunday. Table number 2 on Livernois. This is Detroit's Avenue of Fashion. They're going to be Michigan's only black-owned fine dining white tablecloth restaurant. So we're talking steaks and seafood, classics like Caesar salad, bananas Foster. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prepared tableside.
Oh, I love the pomp and circumstance that comes along with that. Like
Yeah.
when somebody comes and makes your salad right at the table, or
Yeah. If you haven't been to Detroit's Avenue of Fashion, and it's been a couple months since I've been there, but there's hopping stuff going on there. It's exciting. Also, Gorilla Food, they run the Corktown Pink Flamingo weekly pop-up when there's nice weather. They have expanded. They now have a building location across Woodward from Palmer Park.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, the menu is going to focus on food as medicine, seasonal changes, nutrient-dense, locally grown, things like that. And, all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Good,
I love it.
good stuff. Right, that's your stuff. The good stuff.
The good stuff.
I'm going to make a coney out of good stuff.
Carrot dog, if you will.
They're just waiting on final city inspections, and then they will go ahead and open.
This is the D.
Breathe.
All right, Alana, Jewell, here's something that we do from time to time on this show. We have experts in certain areas
Yes.
that call into the show.
Okay.
And we ask them questions because, frankly, they're just smarter people than we are.
Yes.
Right? This is more true of me than it is of Becky. I'm going
low
to be
bar.
honest.
Yeah.
Becky's pretty knowledgeable when it comes to music. I used to be, and I don't know what happened. I fell off the wagon at some point.
It happens to the best of us.
I got old. We have on the line with us Ann Delisi, who, of course, hosts Essential Music every Saturday and Sunday on 101.9 WDET. She's one of our favorites. Ann, thank you so much for joining us.
It's always my pleasure to join you guys. And Seth, you're busy doing a lot of other important things.
I am. I used to be like in the heart of it. I used to go to Warp Tour every year. Now, when I say Warp Tour, I sound old because it doesn't even happen anymore. The thing that used to make me sound cool just makes me sound old. I don't know. So, hey, but you've been around for a while as well. You are celebrating 10 years of Essential Music.
It's been a long time. My first run at WDET was a 12-year run from 83 to 95, and then I went back to WDET in 2009, so I just celebrated my 10th anniversary. And so many people have asked me a lot of questions about, celebrating a landmark anniversary like that. You and I actually laughed about the fact that it's hard to stay in that, in this kind of business for that long. But it has been really gratifying to have so many people weigh in. And, it speaks to the testament of public radio, too. And I guess that's something I really want to talk about is how important it is to be able to have a platform and a forum where you can really do some exploration of music. The risks, they allow us to take some risks. And so I've always been a public radio fan, although honestly, working in commercial radio, I learned an awful lot, no doubt about it. And I have great respect for my friends who are still working in commercial radio. But public radio occupies a really special place in this market and any market where it's thriving. And I'm real lucky to be a part of it, for sure.
I worked in commercial radio, and Alana, you did as well. And look, we know there are the adventurous shows. There might be the new music show or the electronica show or the local music show, and they always put those at like late Sunday night when there's 3 people listening.
Yes.
To have a show like yours in a prime, day part in a major time slot is rare.
It's very rare. It's very rare to have the freedom that I have. There's no doubt about it. And I will preface all this by saying I'm very mindful of that. I don't kind of waltz in there like, hey, look at me. I waltz in there like, boy, am I lucky. Like they are very gracious to give me the freedom that I have, but I certainly am not irresponsible with it. And I think anybody in radio or anybody that's doing anything like Seth with your podcast, we all have to be mindful that the competition for somebody's ear time is more fierce than it ever was. When I started doing radio, there wasn't the internet yet and there wasn't cell phones yet. And so, our competition was other radio stations and TV. As soon as people got phones in their car, that was big competition for radio. So we have to work harder and be more grateful when people do find time for us to do what we do.
Right. Well, I know one of the things that you're doing is this Essential Conversation series. And you've got an upcoming event with Prince's audio engineer. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, her name is Susan Rogers. She's now a professor at the Berklee College of Music in Boston. But for 5 years, she spent every waking moment with Prince. And so the way she tells it, and this was before, during, and after Purple Rain, and the way she tells it is, if Prince was awake, he was working. If he was working, I was working.
Wow.
And so she was with him all the time. And she's got these incredible stories. And, I wrote to her and I thought, okay, this woman doesn't know me. This is going to be an exercise in futility. It'll take 5 emails before she finally lets me down gently.
Right.
And I wrote to her on a Sunday night at 10 o'clock. And by 10 o'clock the next morning, she wrote me back. She goes, I'd be happy to come to Detroit and talk to you about Prince.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I know. It's just unbelievable. I'm not going to believe it till I actually see her. But she's coming in to do this on Sunday, May 19th, and we're going to be out at Willis Show Bar at 6 o'clock. It'll be a benefit for WDET, and I'm really excited to talk to her and to get more insights into, this. As much as we knew about Prince, there was so much we didn't know about him, and we certainly found out a lot more after he passed away. So she has got all the stories, and it'll be interesting. She started the vault, of all of these recordings. That was her. That was her idea to start those. It'll be interesting to see what she says about how much of that should actually come out.
Mm-hmm.
So can I ask a dumb question? What does an audio engineer do? And is that different from what, for example, a record producer does?
It's kind of the same thing, although I get the impression that Prince pretty much produced himself and she recorded everything that he did. So if he, but she didn't just record him in the studio. So, after they would do a gig, they would have all of their equipment ready, and he would tell her either they were going to go to a studio and record all night, or they were going to go to a club and play. And if they went to a club, she mixed it. If they went to a studio, she recorded it.
Wow. And this is a guy who had a club, now 2 clubs in his home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've actually
So-
been since he passed away. They've turned it into a museum. You can go to Paisley Park, and he's got the big club in his house.
Wow.
And then if he wants to do an after party after the show at the big club,
Yeah.
he's got the small club.
Yeah, I went to Paisley right before he passed away. He did a concert series there, and yeah, it's huge, and there's recording nooks in every corner.
Wow. So what are you going to ask her, Ann? Have you thought about it?
I've thought about a lot of things I'm going to ask her. I am going to ask her certainly about certain songs and how she recorded them, but I want to talk to her a lot about what it was really like to record with somebody who was so relentless. So, he would figure out sometimes in the morning a song he wanted to do, and by the end of the day, he would have played every instrument on that song, and it would be a complete song. And so I want to talk to her a lot about what it was like to work with somebody who was so driven like that. And certainly the misunderstandings we might have had about Prince, or what would have surprised us to know about how he really was. But, she didn't leave him because she was, just didn't like working with him. She basically has said she left because she was exhausted and she had no personal life whatsoever. So after that amount of time, and she just said he had a ferocious desire to make music, and that's what he did most of the time. And so she had to be there when he was ready to work.
Wow.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
You're
Like,
shaking your
all
head.
the
You're
time.
like, nah.
I mean,
I
it's
know,
just
right?
a lot. Like,
Yeah.
she was exhausted. I can
Yeah.
imagine.
So people want to get tickets for that event. How can they do that?
You can go to WDET.org/events. It's going to be at the Willis Show Bar, and it'll be at 6 o'clock. Chef Godwin Ian Toogie from Yum Village is going to be cooking for us that night. So we're going to feed you, and you'll get to be part of the audience for this conversation. I'm really excited about it, and certainly grateful to Susan Rogers for trusting me enough to come to Detroit to do this event. Seriously.
Nice. Let me ask you about one other thing. There was late breaking news. Aretha Franklin is going to be honored with the Pulitzer Prize.
That was a surprise, I think, to pretty much everybody. And certainly her work and her influence is going to be felt for decades to come. It's been in place for decades since she started recording. I ask myself, would they have given this to her if she were still here? I was talking to somebody the other day that said we need to start paying tribute to people when they're alive. We do so many things for people after they pass away. I think it's an incredible honor for her. Bob Dylan was honored a couple of years ago, if not, or it was last year, I guess. And so it really speaks to the world's recognition of what she had to offer, and the fact that she spent most of her time in Detroit is just a bonus for us.
Maybe it's just me, and it's because we do this podcast and we do a music segment, and it feels like we talk about Aretha Franklin every single week. But at some point, does there become a point where you're like, look, the Nobel Peace Prize, that's just a little bit too far. She's already got, I think, 6 highways named after her. There's like 17 parks here in Detroit. How much does one person need?
Yeah, well, and there are going to be people I'm sure that will weigh in with that. I think we talked about this when the funeral happened. I was on the Channel 4 broadcast for it. And it was interesting to hear all the different points of view. There are people who absolutely believe that she deserved this incredible funeral. There were other people who didn't feel that way. And I guess that's the thing about music that's so fascinating, is it is so subjective. And when an artist hits you in your heart in a way that no one else does, that's what you see and that's what you feel, and nobody can tell you otherwise. Mm-hmm. And this is interesting because it goes far beyond Detroit. I mean, that's what I find incredibly interesting about this. This didn't come out of Detroit. This isn't a Detroit honor. This is much bigger than that. So the process that they went through and finally deciding that they would honor her this way, I would be curious to hear those conversations about what did they say that made them feel like, okay, she's the one and this is the time?
Well, if you could be a fly on that wall.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of conversation about it, I'm sure.
All right. Well, and Delisi, people can catch Essential Music every Saturday and Sunday on 101.9 WDET. Congratulations again on 10 years. And again, I
Thank
just
you
want to
so
point
much.
out how rare this is in radio to see somebody, hold on to a show for that long. It's really a testament to what you do. So thank you for coming on. We love having you on the podcast.
Thank you for being so gracious and giving up the time for me. It's always great to talk to you guys.
Can't get enough.
This is the D3.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you find your favorite shows.
All right, Jewell, I know that this is now the second podcast episode that you've
Yeah.
ever appeared on.
Yeah.
Congratulations. How you feeling?
Thank you.
Feeling more comfortable?
Yeah, it's great.
We make it easy, right?
Yeah, you do. It's a great experience.
Look, that's what we do. In fact, Becky and I have been doing this podcast, I think we're like at 130 episodes, more
That's
than that.
fantastic.
Yeah, and we have had so many people from the local arts and entertainment scene on, and they've all said the same thing to us after they've come on. They've all said, hey, I've been thinking about doing a podcast.
Everyone's got an idea.
You've been thinking about doing a podcast, haven't you?
Yeah.
Admit it.
Maybe a little.
Right, you're sitting there going,
Yeah.
I might just sell this 2-year-old on Craigslist so that I can go buy a microphone and start a podcast.
I might have an idea that I'm not at liberty to
You're not-
say.
right, yes,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Is it about murder?
Don't give away the secret.
No, all I will say is it's kind of about feet.
Oh, yeah, I think you're safe. I don't think you need to worry about anybody stealing that one. I wouldn't worry about it. Look, we are now making branded podcasts for Detroit arts and entertainment organizations because we
Oh,
have
that's
had
fantastic.
so many of them come to us and say, we've been thinking about doing a podcast. We should, yes, absolutely, we should. You should launch it. And they said, we don't know where to start. So we will help you with all that. If you want all the details, go to the website, michiganpodcastproductions.com. I've started a blog there which walks you through a lot of the steps of launching a podcast, and it's absolutely something that we would love to help with.
Yeah, because they're smart in their ways. So let someone else be smart in this way.
Yeah, absolutely. So go check it out, michiganpodcastproductions.com.
This is the D.
Detroit.
This is the D3.
Brave.
All right, there it is. That's another show.
Woohoo! We did it!
We made it.
We did it!
Who needs Becky?
Get well soon, Becky.
No, yeah, seriously, get well soon, Becky. Thank you to both of you for being on the show.
Thank you.
I want to let everybody know that we have an email list because I know we talk about a lot of things in this show. If you want links to all of the things that we talk about, go to our website. It is thedebriefdetroit.com. While you're there, sign up for the email list, and we will send you an email every single week.
So much easier than trying to write it all down as we're talking.
It really is hard. I can barely do it. I can't keep up.
We
All
have
right.
notes.
Jewell, before we get out of here, you got to do one more thing. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, I love that sting. Oh, that's so good. Not ominous at all.
Not at all. All right, here's how this works. We are going to ask you for a series of rapid-fire recommendations.
Okay.
All you have to do is tell us the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay,
You ready?
ready.
All right. Let's start with this. Besides your own, what Detroit website do you visit most often?
Gosh, website?
Yeah.
So as far as doing research for new places that are coming up, probably Thrillist or Eater.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good. And they both have Detroit sites, right? Or
Yeah.
Detroit subsites.
Yep, they
yeah.
do.
Very cool.
All right, we talked a little bit about your favorite cheese shop, but what is your favorite ethnic food shop?
Gosh, ethnic food shop. I mean, Alchemos
Okay.
would be a good.
Where's that?
It's in Dearborn. It's right on Schaefer in Michigan. That's about as ethnic as I get, but it's a little Italian
Okay.
place, and they have really good subs. So you can get some really good olives too. That's
Nice.
awesome.
What is your favorite place for brunch in the city?
Oh gosh, brunch. I recently went to Folk, and it was really, really good.
Where's Folk?
So Folk is in Corktown.
Oh,
Corktown is happening. That's
It
where all
really
the
is.
stuff is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
What'd you have?
I had this like Korean rice bowl with kimchi and fried egg, and it was good.
That sounds good.
Spicy.
It
but
does
yeah.
sound good.
Yeah.
You throw a fried egg on anything, and I'm in. Oh, we talked a little bit about this earlier. What is your favorite place to see a concert?
Well, I've been going to the Magic Stick since I was probably 16, so I would say
Nice.
partial to the Magic Stick, but otherwise St. Andrews Hall.
Nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You have a favorite band that you've seen at either one of those?
So I grew up listening to punk music. So Against Me.
I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, or old school like Propagandhi.
Right.
Yeah.
Were you at the Warped Tour when it was cool? I was
Oh,
at the
yeah.
Warped Tour when it was cool.
I love that you're just like, you sound so sweet and nice.
Everyone said that.
And she's like, anarchy!
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That's good though.
That is great.
How about this? Do you have a favorite place to buy unique local gifts?
So Well Done Goods in Eastern Market. It's kind of like I get a lot of like weird socks and necklaces from there, but it's like a techno store too. They always play techno music and have like a lot of weird T-shirts. And I went there one time, and the owner was like, "Would you like some wine?" I'm like, "Absolutely, I would love some wine." So
You were hooked.
yeah, it's good. It's a
All
good
right.
store.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Detroit dive bar?
Oh, right now I would say probably Honest John's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where's Honest John's?
So Honest John's is in Midtown, so it's right across the street from Selden Standard
Okay.
and down the street from She Wolf, which is the newest pasta bar that opened, but it's right on Selden
Nice.
and Second, yeah.
What is your favorite way to spend a sunny day in Detroit?
Well, I actually stay right across the street from the DeQuinder Cut, so just kind of checking that out and just, leisurely walking around, enjoying the sun.
That
maybe
is so
biking,
fun.
yeah, or walking.
And they're doing a lot of stuff there with the DCFY, the freight yard. They've got a lot of shows going on in the summer.
Yeah, I'll often hear music, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, they're doing music. They're doing stand up there.
Yeah, we saw a stand-up comedy show. I mean, I just
Yep.
went riding my bike down there with my girlfriend one day, and there was a stand-up comedy. Jason Brent was
Yep.
putting it together.
Yep.
Yeah.
How
and
random,
It
but
was
that's
really
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They've got a bar there. It's a great spot.
Yeah.
One more. All right. Let's take a left turn. What is your favorite movie that's set in Detroit?
Gosh, I mean, the only thing that comes, not the only, but the first thing would be Gran Torino.
Oh, the Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have yet to see that.
It's
Oh.
good.
It's just get off my lawn, right?
Yeah, it's him as cranky old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. It's
That's
hard to
good.
imagine that.
I know.
Clint Eastwood
He's
is a
really
cranky
going
old man.
against
Yeah.
type.
All right, Jewell Dziendizel, congratulations. You're absolutely
Thank you.
fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Let everybody know where they can find the blog and how they can find you on social media.
Sure. So my website is thebite2night.com, and then my Instagram, which I use mostly, Facebook too, is @thebite2night.
Nice. And Alana, thank you so much for
Thanks
filling
so
in.
much for having me. Again, get well soon, Becky.
Hey, if people want to find out where you're performing or follow you on social media, can they do that?
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter are the best spots, and it's @Gonzaleza, GONZALEEZA.
Awesome. Well, thank you to both of you. It's been a
Thank you.
great pleasure
Thanks.
having you on the show. I really appreciate it. Becky, get well. And of
Yes.
course, Friday, we've got Evrod Kesemi.
Music.
Until then, Detroit's moving. Keep up.
The Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.
Hi, Craig Foley here. If you're listening to the Debrief podcast, well, I've got two things to say to you. One, you have impeccable taste. Two, you care about the community that is Metro Detroit. That's why I think you'd appreciate my daily show, The Craig Foley Show on Deadline Detroit. Every weekday, I tackle the big issues in politics, business, arts and culture, sports. Whatever's on the mind of Detroiters and Michiganders, we will talk about it. It's all open for discussion. And keep this in mind, news doesn't have to be boring. Sure, we talk about serious stories and we have interviews and commentary, but we do it in a way that, if I'm doing my job right, is informative but also entertaining. Check out The Craig Foley Show on Deadline Detroit for news, knowledge, hopefully some fun tossed in.
Interested in hearing from folks in the craft beer industry? Tune in monthly to the Beer Tour Guy podcast. I'm your host, Steve Johnson, and I'm the owner-operator of Motor City Brew Tours. And since 2009, I've taken 25,000 people to enjoy the best beer, cider, and mead being made in Southeast Michigan and beyond. On the Beer Tour Guy podcast, monthly I interview folks working in the industry where you can learn more about what's going on in the industry and in other tours that I'm offering in my tour company. If you'd like to learn more about our show, Beer Tour Guy, or Motor City Brew Tours, visit motorcitybrewtours.com.